Let's look ahead to Thursday in the NBA. Streaming options, injury updates, it's all coming up thanks to Michael Bolton.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy Basketball, your daily fantasy basketball podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd, and the pajama salesman's best friend Derek Rose remains sidelined. I'm also the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com, and you can find me on Twitter as always at redrock_bball, on TikTok at redrock_bball, and on Instagram at LockedOnFantasyBasketball. Today's episode is brought to you by PrizePicks, the easiest and the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNBA and use the code all lowercase LockedOnNBA for a first deposit match up to $100. Thank you also for making Locked On Fantasy Basketball your first listen every day. We are free and we are available on all platforms. You want to be a double banger? You watch on video and you listen on audio. And when you are here on video, you share it. That's a great way of helping. But you thumbs it up, you comment, you subscribe, and you just flick that little bell. You just flick it really softly, and then you never miss an episode, which I'm sure you don't want to do. So we are here to talk about Thursday's action across the NBA. There are 8 games on, I believe. Yeah, 8 games on Thursday, and quite a bit for us to talk about. So let's get through this and talk about what we do need to talk about. That's what I'm talking about. Situations, and as usual, as I'm creating all these graphics, injuries are popping up left, right, and center, so we'll try and go in as best order as we can. And you'll notice that Monte Morris is still out for the Pistons. Will this man ever play again? I don't know. He's out. Maxi Kleber, I'm going to guess, is out for the Mavericks. We haven't had an update on that. Derek Rose and Luke Kennard, I'm guessing they're out for Memphis. Draymond Green is definitely out with his suspension. I'm going to say Gary Payton is definitely out for the Warriors as well. I'm also, again, it's very hard for me to presume with the Charlotte Hornets, very hard, but I'll guess that LaMelo Ball is out. And considering he left the last game with a calf strain in-game, Gordon Hayward's going to be out. I don't know that for certain, but it's a pretty good guess to say that Gordon Hayward will be out. Frank Ntilikina is also out in Charlotte. Kyrie Irving is out for Wednesday's game. I guess that he'll be out for Thursday's game. I'm going to list him doubtful for now, but Jason Kidd hasn't told us jack shit about that, so I don't know. What we do know is that Caleb Martin is officially doubtful for the Heat with an ankle sprain. Josh Richardson with a back issue. He missed Christmas Day with that back issue, so he's doubtful. And, of course, back to Charlotte, I'm going to just go ahead and guess that Mark Williams will be doubtful for the 9th or 10th in a row. Is that what it is? It's close to that. Anyway, maybe he's coming back soon, but honestly, this shit show organization, they're lucky that Detroit exists, because they'd cop a lot more. From me, they cop enough, but they cop more. Mark Williams, I'm going to guess, is doubtful. Some big injury news in Boston with both Jaylen Brown, with that injury he suffered on Christmas Day, the back issue, and Jason Tatum popping up as questionable. They have a Thursday, Friday back-to-back, the Celtics, so just don't be shocked if they sit, because they play Detroit on Thursday. So they might be out, opening up a world of possibilities for your Delano Bantons, your Sammy Houses, your Peyton Pritchards. Could be some options there. Horford is not listed on the injury report, so I'm going to guess he plays Thursday and then sits on Friday. Killian Hayes had him as questionable. They've upgraded him to probable. I think he's been probable the last 4 games and he's missed them all. So cool. Helping those 10% probable guys that don't play stats. Killian Hayes with his illness. Larry Nance Jr., I'm going to put as questionable. Doncic is officially questionable for Wednesday. I don't know that he's going to play. It is a back-to-back. He's obviously shouldering a gigantic load. So I'll put him as questionable for Thursday as well. If he misses Wednesday, I expect he plays Thursday. If he plays Wednesday, higher chance that he sits on Thursday. But at this point, we don't know that. They also have just relisted the Minnesota Timberwolves, relisted Karl Anthony Towns as questionable. If he is out, Kyle Anderson and Naz Reid, although Anderson's the guy that got the start. But it just doesn't appear like, we don't know, but it doesn't appear like this is a long-term thing for Towns, but it could be frustrating with constant questionable listings. Josh Green has been out for a few weeks. He is questionable for Wednesday's game. So I would think that he's going to return on one of these games, either Wednesday or Thursday. That's my guess. Timmy Hardaway is also questionable for the Mavs. He is questionable with an illness for Wednesday, so I'm going to label him questionable for Thursday as well. Sticks, Jalen Smith, he left the last game. He returned to the bench, didn't come back into the game. So we haven't had an update yet from the Pacers. So I've got both him and Bruce Brown as potentially questionable. Johnny Conchar missed the last game for the Grizzlies. He may not even be in the rotation. I'm going to put him as questionable. General Soreness himself, Jimmy Butler, is officially questionable for the Miami Heat after missing 3 straight with a calf injury. If he is out and Caleb is out and Richardson's out, and there's other Heat guys like Kyle Lowry and Duncan Robinson who have both popped up as questionable, then the opportunities for so many guys is there, obviously, including Jaime Jaquez, Kevin Love, Haywood Highsmith, a bunch of guys who could get extra run if the Heat have a bunch of players out. I should have put this on the earlier part of the show, but we all know that Aaron Gordon is out with a dog bite and the stitches. He's going to be out for multiple weeks, I'm guessing here, so he is out. I said Kyle Lowry and Duncan Robinson are officially questionable because they are officially questionable. In Portland, DeAndre Ayton missed the last game with knee soreness. They've got a Thursday, Friday back-to-back. I expect that he sits one of those games. I'm going to put him questionable for Thursday at the moment. Shaedon Sharp's been dealing with a groin issue. I would guess that he sits on Thursday and maybe plays on Friday. Groin strain, got to be looking at a week plus. Like we heard the Vooch news, 7 to 10 days. That Vooch news, by the way, 7 to 10 days on the groin. Let's make it 2 weeks. He's not coming back in 7 days. I'm sorry, he's not. He's not. He's not. Old bastard groin injury, not happening. Wembanyama, I've listed questionable because we know that he's going to sit one of the games, Thursday, Friday. We just don't know which one. I usually, the players play the first one and sit the second one. We'll see what that looks like for Wemby. But I'm just going to put him there just so we're aware that there is a chance that he does not play on Thursday, Wembanyama, and that he returns Friday, or it's vice versa. The other one that dropped in the middle of me doing this was Elf Stewart, the Flamin' Galah. He is out with a toe sprain. So we are finally going to get an opportunity to see Jalen Duren starting center without Isaiah Stewart starting whatever he is next to him. So what do? Do they put Boyan and Asar Thompson back in? I would assume so. Although, Isaiah Livers, they might do that. Like, who knows? Their lack of forwards has been one of the big criticisms of Troy Weaver. There's a list of 10,000 of them, but it's been one of them. Or the other guy they could start is the Ford himself, Kevin Knox. Maybe he starts over Isaiah Livers and Asar Thompson. That's possible. Watch that one. There might be some streaming value there for Thompson or for Knox with Stewart out. Brandon Miller missed the last game for the Hornets with an ankle sprain. I would expect that he misses. And LeBron, of course, is just going to be questionable every game. So is probably Anthony Davis. Asar Thompson is probable with an illness. So, look, he should be okay to play. But Pistons and illnesses, Killian Hayes has been struck down by that. And Haywood Highsmith is returning, and he's going to need to play a large role with maybe no Butler, Robinson, Lowry, and definitely no Martin and Richardson. There is a big role potentially appearing for old mate Haywood Highsmith. Today's episode is brought to you by eBay Motors. eBay Motors has teamed up with me, the Locked On Fantasy Basketball podcast, to bring you some of the best waiver wire picks each week, all season. So when you're prepping for the waiver wire, checking what's available there, whether you're doing daily draft type scenarios, we're going to help get you the players that are guaranteed to fit on your roster. I'm going to go back to Isaiah Hartenstein. I haven't spoken about him for a while, but he's still sitting around there in like 40% of leagues. Mitchell Robinson may or may not come back, but what I do know, he's not coming back before the All-Star break. That's a bloody long time. So Isaiah Hartenstein is the starting center. He's a 30-minute-a-night player. He's a top 100 fantasy guy, yet many leagues are just cavalierly leaving him on the waiver wire. That is, as eBay would tell us, a guaranteed fit. So go and grab Isaiah Hartenstein if he's sitting out there on your waiver wire. Is he going to lead you to a fantasy championship? Well, he won't hurt you getting there. And eBay Motors knows that a championship team is all about each player being a perfect fit, and that is the same with your vehicle. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you can make sure that your ride stays running smoothly. Brake kits, LED headlights, roof racks, bumpers, whatever it is that your baby needs, eBay Motors has it. With eBay Guaranteed Fit, it's guaranteed to fit your ride the first time, every time, or your money back. Plus, at these prices, you're burning rubber and not cash. So keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to US customers, eligible items only, and exclusions apply. Okay, so let's take a look at where we sit with some back-to-backs from Thursday into Friday. So when you're looking at guys to stream in Thursday, Friday's a 10-game day, so you may or may not have availabilities on that day, just be aware. But when you're looking at these players, you get the 2-for-1 opportunity here. So it's on the Celtics, the Hornets, the Nuggets, the Grizzlies, the Blazers, and the Spurs. It also means that when we're looking at injuries with Ayton and Sharp with the Blazers and Wembanyama with the Spurs, and Grizzlies I think should be okay, but maybe Marcus Smart sits, and the Hornets with Brandon Miller and anyone on that team, honestly. The Celtics with Al Horford. There's opportunities for players to sit on one of those two games and open up stuff for other guys. The Celtics on Friday, you might look at Neemias Queta because of Horford sitting. See how it goes. And Porzingis maybe sits as well. I don't think he is. I think he's ready to go. But there are 6 back-to-backs heading in through Thursday through Friday. In terms of the streams of the day, the 10-team stream of the day is very obviously the big avocado Andre Drummond. He's still available in 60% plus of leagues. People have not caught on yet. They will catch on really quickly. I would guess this is 2 weeks of value of a conservatively top 70 guy. Probably higher. Add him. They've got no backup center at all. Add him. The 10-team stream, I've got Alex Caruso, the rabbit hunter there, another Bulls player. 14-team, I'm going Taurean Prince. But if I knew that Jalen Smith was playing, it's him. He's actually probably a 12-team streamer if we knew that he was playing. But Taurean Prince for 14-teamers. 16-teamers, it's Peyton Watson. He's going to be, I'm guessing, getting a boost with Aaron Gordon out. I'm not going to say he's flat replacing Aaron Gordon because it could be Justin Holiday, could be Julian Strouder, could be Christian Brown, could be bloody Hunter Tyson for all I know with Dr. Michael Malone. It won't be because he's not playing at all. But Watson's the guy that I'm going to bet on in terms of the fantasy profile and hope that the minutes follow along. And then for points leagues, well, it's very obviously the big avocado, Andre Drummond. Someone asked, why do I call Andre Drummond the big avocado? You ready for story time? Because this ties into weird injuries and Aaron Gordon being out due to a dog bite, which is, again, really serious. Like that could be infections, face, hand. That's a long-term thing, right? And we hope he didn't hit any nerves. That could be months. I don't think it is, but it could be. Right? We hope that's fine. But in terms of weird injuries, Andre Drummond, and when he played for the Pistons, they were going down to Mexico for a Mexico City game. And, of course, when you're in Mexico, what do you eat? You go for guacamole. So he went and had guacamole and then forgot the guacamole is made of avocado, and he has an allergy to avocado. So he ate the guacamole, his face swelled up, he couldn't see, and he had to sit out the game. And the reason he's then called the big avocado is because he nicknamed himself the Big Penguin. Again, terrible nickname. Doesn't make really any sense. I'd love to know. Actually, it's not terrible. It's okay. It's funny. But then I just transferred the penguin to be the big avocado, and that's where we are. Because he went down and ate avocados in Mexico, got an allergic reaction, and missed the game. Maybe I should start using more of players' weird injuries into their nicknames. Like, Derrick Rose, the apple-picking legend. Someone reminded me of that story today. Said that Derrick Rose cut his elbow because he went up. He was cutting an apple in bed with a knife, got out of bed, jumped back in, forgot the knife was there, landed on it, and it cut his arm. Like Jaylen Brown, the florist, for when he cut his hand breaking a vase. God, the florist is actually pretty good. The florist is pretty good. Bouquet legend, Jaylen Brown. Anyway, I'm just amusing myself here. Let's talk about what is on my radar for these games. The Pistons and the Celtics. How low can the Pistons go? Imagine they beat the Celtics. The worst team beats the best team. Could happen. Let's watch Asar Thompson, because with Isaiah Stewart out, do they go back to him? Does he play as a power forward? Does that help? It should. We'll see. Not bad streaming here, I think. And then for the Celtics, I do want to watch Porzingis because he's been really, really solid. It's more about watching his minutes, how they look, and the usage hierarchy on this team. And if Tatum and Brown are out, like what's he able to do ramp up wise? For the streamers, Killian Hayes is there for Detroit in 21, 22 minutes, 5 assists, 2 steals. That's really useful. But Asar Thompson's there too. He's just rostered in a lot of spots. And for the Celtics, a lot of shit could open up. But Sam Hauser would be the guy we go to first. And then maybe there's a Svi Mykhailiuk, who's actually on the injury report himself. Delano Banton, Peyton Pritchard could jump in as well. But there's a lot of different guys who could be in or out on that Celtics team at the moment. The Utah Jazz and the New Orleans Pelicans, I want to watch the speaker, Keontae George, who came back last game, played 24 off the bench. Do they immediately start him in this one over Chris Dunn? Does he play 30 minutes? Is he worth an ad? You know what we say, get out in front of it. I think he's going to be pretty rocky at times. Obviously, he has been so far. But let's see what his role looks like. And then Herb Jones. I am very, very much in favor of cutting Herb Jones. In 12-team points leagues, absolutely. In 10-team category leagues, no problem. In 12-team category leagues, probably also no problem. But maybe he changes our mind somewhat. Let's see how they use him. And then for streams, Kelly Olynyk, while he's starting, we use him. There's going to be frustration with him and Collins and Kessler and how their minutes are all distributed. And honestly, Markkanen playing the 4 should happen more too. But let's watch what Olynyk does. And then for the Pelicans, our best stream is probably Dyson Daniels, although I don't feel super excited about that, and neither should you. Dallas and Minnesota, this is a back-to-back for Dallas. I just want to keep watching Derek Lively. Is he a 26-minute-a-night guy, or is he 30? Because if he's 30, he's probably a top 50 player rest of season. If he's 26, he's top 100. But he's playing unbelievably. So let's see where they sort of sit him. He's very reminiscent of Daniel Gafford in terms of fantasy value, except I think he's going to be way better. So he's putting up some big numbers. For the Wolves, Jaden McDaniels. Last game, we were there, has he broken out? Is he taking more control of things offensively? No, he didn't. And he went back to being a guy that we don't necessarily need to roster. Now, with Towns popping up on the injury report, we hold on to Jaden. But he's getting to that stage where I need to see you do it for 3 weeks of being this change player, because I'm not really there. In terms of streams, it is Exum and Derek Jones in Dallas, but a bunch of stuff could open up. There might be no Kyrie, no Luka, so we might be going back to like Jaden Hardy taking 30 shots and making 4 of them. There could be a bunch of stuff open up for Dallas. And then on Minnesota side, Kyle Anderson is the stream, especially if Karl Anthony Towns does happen to be sidelined, which at this point is questionable. Indiana and Chicago, I want to watch Aaron Nesmith. Does he start again over Buddy Hield? What happens when Bruce Brown returns? Does Brown and Nesmith start? Do they keep Nembhard in that role? Does Nesmith move back to the bench? I'm not sure. But let's watch Nesmith, who I think is more of a fringe 12 than a must-roster 12. And then for Chicago, Patrick Williams stunk last game, but I do have faith in his minutes and his role and him being a 12-team league guy for now. In terms of streams, well, obviously it's Andre Drummond, the best stream of the entire day and must be rostered everywhere. And then for the Pacers side of things, it is Jalen Smith, if we hear that he's going to play. Because if he plays 25 minutes a night, he's a very clear 12-team league ad. But I just don't know that he's going to be healthy, because he left last game with some sort of head injury. Today's episode is brought to you by Prize Picks, the largest daily fantasy sports platform in North America. It's also the easiest way to play DFS and the most exciting way as well. Instead of worrying about lineups and salary caps, instead of worrying about other pros and sharks and thousands of other competitors, on Prize Picks, it's you and the stats. That is it. They put up a player projection for an individual stat, may it be points or rebounds, steals, assists, blocks, whatever. And you just look at it and you concentrate. More or less. And you go, less. Or you come in there and you go, more. Or you look at, let's see, what could we look at? Taylor Horton Tucker, turnovers set at 7, more. And you go, you choose them, between 2 to 6 of them, throw them into a lineup, and you could get up to 25 times your money back. So those of you without a calculator handy, if I put in $5, sneaky number. If I put in $5, how much do I get back? $125. If I put in 10, I get $250 back. If I get all 6 of those entries right, it's fast, it's easy to do, it's fun, it's quick. Fast and quick are the same thing. That's how fast it is. I had to use the word twice or the synonyms twice. So go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNBA and use the code LockedOnNBA for a first deposit match up to $100. That is prizepicks.com/LockedOnNBA. The code that you use is LockedOnNBA as well, and you get up to $100 in a first deposit match. PrizePicks is daily fantasy made easy. Okie dokie. What are we looking at now? It is the Memphis Grizzlies and the Denver Nuggets. I want to watch the cashier Xavier Tillman Sr. 5 blocks last game, 1 steal. Now, he is not a good shot blocking center, but he is a good steal center. And at some point, I would guess, maybe, I don't know, that he takes back over from Bismack Biyombo. I'm not rushing to add Tillman, but that game gave me a lot to think about in terms of, watch list, deeper league ad, let's see how they utilize him in this one. And then for the Nuggets, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope is not really a points league rosterable guy, but I had multiple people ask me, hey, with Aaron Gordon out, does this mean more for KCP? And I don't really think that it does. And I'll tell you why, because Aaron Gordon is not an above average usage player. He's not. He's like, well, let's actually double check that before I start spouting off. Aaron Gordon is like, well, he's not, well, let's say this much. We know Aaron Gordon's like a 30% usage player. So while it might make sense to you, well, one of the starters goes down, so the other starter gets more shots. The guy that replaces Aaron Gordon, Peyton Watson, Julian Strouber, Justin Holiday, whoever it is, Christian Brown, is probably just going to have the same level of usage anyway. So Gordon is what's he at? 18.2 usage, so below average usage player. So if Watson comes in and he's a 19 usage player and Holiday's a 17 usage player, it doesn't really change anything for KCP. What it could do He's one of those guys, comes off the bench and is starting. There's some extra, fewer guys on the bench to contribute, so we run more of the starters. But I don't really think it changes anything for KCP, honestly. When we look at it that way, it's when like a big usage player goes down. Jamal Murray goes down, and he's replaced by Reggie Jackson. Probably a bad example because Jackson's a high usage guy. Nikola Jokic goes down, and he's replaced by DeAndre Jordan. 30 usage, let's say for Jokic, 12 usage for Jordan. Then your Gordons and Porters and KCPs all get a bump in that scenario. But when a below average usage guy gets removed out, it's possible that the other guys around him actually do less. Because if Brown comes in and is a 21 usage player, then KCP actually gets less shots. It's not always just about player out, worst player in, the other players do more. It's about how they fit in the game style and all that sort of stuff. That was a long talk about that. Streaming, Tillman for Memphis, and it is Watson. I do prefer Watson over Brown, over Holiday, over Strowther. If we hear Strowther starting, though, that'd be the only one I go, maybe I'd try with him. But even if Watson gets 25 off the bench, that's enough for me to be interested. The Miami Heat and the Golden State Warriors, I do want to see Jaime Jaquez. Obviously, you're well aware that I'm not a huge Jaquez fan. And that seems unfair. I like Jaquez as a player. I think he's totally fine as a serviceable role player. But he's one of those guys that we need to just calm down. It's smelling a bit like Eric Paschall. It's not exactly the same as Eric Paschall, the triangle, but it's a bit like, you're seeing these like Kevin O'Connor's like, wow, if we did a redraft, Jaquez would go 3. Would he? Or have you lost your complete mind? There is in no world with Jaime Jaquez go with the 3rd overall pick. Like, come on. This is fetishizing a role player. He's been very good in that role. He's been super efficient. And that is why that it seems like I just hate the guy. I don't. I like him. Very strong role player. But we need to be literally serious here. But with Lowry, Robinson, Butler all questionable, Martin, Richardson doubtful, Jaquez is going to have to do a lot more, and he remains good, and he has definitely proven me wrong this season. I just think we need to calm our tits a little bit. For the Warriors, I want to see the bucket, John Kuminga, because, look, he's been underwhelming. I'm still rostering him in points leagues and a little bit in category leagues, not in every spot. But I think he's probably at more risk than Podziemski for when Draymond returns. He's doing okay, but it's just not a full blow-us-away fantasy guy. In terms of streams, Kevin Love, surely he has to play more with Martin out. And then Kuminga is available in 60% plus of leagues, so he's really on the radar there to stream in. The next one we look at is the Spurs and the Blazers. They play each other again on Friday. I'm going to guess that Wembanyama plays on Thursday, but I also want to watch the horse, Keldon Johnson, because last game he played quite a bit off the bench and did well in terms of scoring. Now, but we know what Keldon is. He's a scorer. And this season he's had a few little flashes of more assists, but if he does play the bench role, I fear that those assists might go away and he might turn into Keldon Johnson, who doesn't do anything else apart from score, and then we watch the efficiency. I am holding him in most spots, but I can very easily see if he's a 24-minute-a-night bench player, he does move into a drop. We'll see. For the Blazers, it is about Sterling Henderson, because last game was good. He had an 11-assist game. He scored well. He was relatively efficient. Does he do it again? Does his minutes trend up? Does he play 30? We're just watching. If you want to get ahead of it, you add him. If you're okay waiting, then wait. Because I don't think he's going to be blowing us away with top 100 numbers from here on out. I think it might come in the middle of January. But it's all about the competitiveness and the eagerness of your league as to how quickly you go get him. Jeremy Sohan's probably a good stream for the Spurs. I also like Bubbles, Julian Champagny, and Trey Jones. And then for the Blazers, Matisse Thybulle is probably the best guy there. Of course, if Ayton is out and Sharp is out, obviously Brogdon needs to be rostered as well. But if Ayton is out, then it is Christmas Wreath, the Holly legend, Duop. We need to try and stream him in. He was great last game. Although, we've seen him play many times with Ayton and never been that good. The last game of the day is the Charlotte Hornets and the Los Angeles Lakers. I'm going to watch PJ Washington, who was really quite good last game, and with likely no Hayward, maybe no Miller, probably no Mark Williams, he's got another opportunity for some really big numbers. Let's see if he's able to continue that. And then D'Angelo Russell. Is he just going to be an 18-minute-a-night player, or do they change it up again? Do they play him 30 off the bench? I don't believe they will. This is the beginning, this Thursday game, of the Lakers' 3 games in 4 nights. They play Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. So there's value in him just for that. And let's see how they use him. And then streams, Big Dick Nick, of course, with Mark Williams, doubtful, and Taurean Prince on the Lakers, 20% rostered starter, good minutes, good shooting numbers. It'll cool off, but for now, we enjoy it. The 2-for-1s, the Thursday, Friday. You may have a spot available on Friday, you may not. But guys like Nick Richards, we roster him anyway. Jeremy Sohan, Peyton Watson, Malachi Branham, Xavier Tillman, and Vince Williams all have that 2-for-1 little combo on Thursday, Friday with a significant amount of value. Just look to see if it makes sense on your roster. And then we go chunking. We look at the next 5 days. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. There's only one of those days that's a high volume day, and that's Friday. I'm going to exclude Friday's action here. So these guys here are all worth using on the definite days that you can use them. Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Jalen Smith and the Pacers have 3 games. Now, I don't know whether Smith's going to play. I hope he is, but he's a great chunk stream. Aaron Nesmith from the same team is a good chunk stream. Kelly Olynyk and the Jazz, they've got 3 quality games coming up. The Lakers have 3 quality games coming up. I don't have anyone on that list because I like all these guys more. The Mavericks have 3 quality games coming up. So Dante Exum, Derek Jones. So you got Jalen Smith, Kelly Olynyk, Aaron Nesmith, Dante Exum. And then the 2 Bulls guys have only got 2 quality games in the next 5 days, but it's Andre Drummond and Alex Caruso. They're good enough that you have to have them. And those 2 quality games are better than 3 from a scrub like a Jared Vanderbilt. So that's where we're at with the chunks. Now let's take us through to the streams of the day. Well, not the streams of the day, the 10-team streamers for Thursday's option. Again, if these guys are available in your 12s, this is where you start. Andre Drummond, Alex Caruso, Big Dick Nick Richards, Brandon Pajemski, Pat Williams. I've got Herbalife Jones on that list. You can stream him in. Not super confident in it, but you can. 12-teamers, Sticks, Jalen Smith. Are we standing by our man? I think he's a really good option if he plays. Aaron Nesmith, Kyle Lowry if he plays. Kelly Olynyk, Jeremy Sohan, and the artist formerly known as Torian Prince. For deeper leagues, we are going with Rui Hachimura, Peyton Watson, Jared Vanderbilt, Ayo Dosunmu, Derek Jones, and Xavier Tillman Sr. Lastly, points league streams. For Yahoo Points Scoring System, Andre Drummond, Nick Richards, Alex Caruso, Jalen Sticks Smith, Jeremy Sohan, and the bucket, John Kuminga. And that will do it for me today. Guys, don't forget, if you are listening on audio, come and check me out on YouTube. There was someone who commented on my Instagram the other day, man, I can't believe that's what Josh Lloyd looks like. Cool. So you've obviously never watched any of my reels or any of my YouTube videos. There you go. Here I am. Come and see me. If you're on YouTube, download the audio as well. Listen to it while you're doing whatever you need to do. Driving in the car, you're mowing the lawn. How many of you have lawns? I don't even have a lawn. We ripped our grass up, put a lot of rocks out the front. Yeah, there you go. Anyway, do all those things. And of course, on video, subscribe. Thumbs up, comments down below, guys. We are done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.